One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Good evening, this is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria with the regular Friday night broadcast, coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. We're broadcasting on the prime frequency of 3541 kHz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and also broadcasting via the Melbourne television repeater VK3RTV Digital Channel 1. And also via the Discord stream in full HD, and also on YouTube, on my channel on YouTube. Just type in VK3CSJ in the YouTube search engine. Look for the live indication, and hopefully this week the YouTube stream will hang in there and will produce reasonable pictures 20 seconds later than what you're hearing now. That's why I provide a Discord channel, which can be found by signing up to Discord. And if you go to the VK3EKH QRZ page, I provide a link to the Discord channel and the chat room, worth exploring from the point of view that the time delay between what you're hearing on 80 metres live or via the Melbourne TV repeater is just less than a second, so much better than what YouTube is providing. Although the only thing with YouTube is that it records. the stuff that goes to YouTube, and so it can be viewed later. Whereas Discord is just a live stream straight to the air, straight to the internet. As I speak, on this 11th day of October, we're in the middle of a auroral activity. For those watching the TV repeater and the YouTube stream and the Discord stream, I'm providing a live feed from the Discord, from the All Sky camera up at Heathcote. The camera is located at the dark sky site of the Leon Mao Dark Sky Site, which is part of the ASV, and that's located not too far from the Radio Astronomy Observatory, LMRO. Very pleasant good evening to anybody that might be listening up there on the site using the super receiver up there in the club room, if it still exists. But otherwise, very pleasant good evening to anybody that might be up there with television, with cameras and telescopes set up to record what's happening. The intensity of the auroral effect has dropped off a little bit, I note, and it's just dependent on exactly how well it might arc up again later tonight. But I can just quickly show you what I took a picture of just a short while ago. That's just before 8 o'clock, and there's actually just before that particular shot there was quite a significant red to the auroral glow, and I've already had reports coming in that we've been able to see the telltale sign of the auroral glow in the sky, but it is wavering around. Cloud cover is a bit of a problem right now, but looking at the satellite cloud cover, there should be some more clear sky coming up in a short while, but it is going to be spotty with the clouds. So there's still possibility of seeing auroral activity tonight, right now in fact. If you've got a camera, a mobile phone that has the night shot on it, worth using that. Point the camera up towards that part of the sky that looks like you can see just by eye the glow, and in the night shot mode just take a few pictures. The camera won't show what you see on the screen, you won't see anything, it's just black, and you think, for all intents and purposes, you think, there's nothing there, but it's not until you view the images that you've just taken will the camera reveal the auroral glow. So it is significant at the moment, and if you're down near the shoreline or a dark sky site looking south, you'll definitely see something happening if there's no clouds in the way. You're tuned to VK3 EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, and tonight we're going to be, at least in this first half hour, we're going to be acknowledging Professor Matthew Bales for a recent win. He's just received an award, what they could refer to as the Prime Minister's Prize for Science. So I'm going to just give you a quick read of the article for that, and then I'm going to segue into a interview that Brendan O'Brien did with Professor Matthew Bales a few years ago, episode number 67, I think it was. It's just here in front of me. 56 episode, Astrophiz episode 56, Matthew Bales, about magnetars, supercomputers and gravitational waves. In the meantime, the ASV is a non-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering. Maybe I should bring up my camera. Hang on a second. I'll just go to live camera for the moment, so that you can see that I'm actually here and doing things live. There I am. Okay, so yes, so the ASV is a non-profit society for people interested in astronomy, attracting and catering for people from a wide range of ages and backgrounds, abilities and interests. First formed in 1922, the society has grown to over 1,600 members. Its activities are coordinated by a council of elected office bearers, section directors and ordinary councillors. The ASV has weekly activities at our two metropolitan locations, the Morley Community Village and the Melbourne Observatory. And we host monthly astro talks at the Herbarium near the Melbourne Observatory. The Society's library is also located at the Melbourne Observatory and is open during our astro talks. For over 50 years, the ASV has played a major role in the care of the buildings and facilities at the Melbourne Observatory. Our members conduct astronomy for the people gatherings throughout the year, bringing telescopes and astronomy to Melbourne's parks and schools. And if you check the ASV calendar on site for details, you might be able to find one of these events that you can attend. The ASV is currently involved in a number of major activities. They are involved in the restoration of the Great Melbourne Telescope and are also currently working on the installation of a series of remote telescopes at our dark sky site at Heathcote. And once completed, we'll give access to our members for use, so you can actually access these telescopes remotely on a schedule. Thanks to a generous donation from one of the most long-standing and respected members, the Leon Mao Dark Sky site, located north of Melbourne, has pristine night sky for deep sky observing. The ASV has a 25-inch telescope, a 40-inch telescope, and a wheelchair-accessible 16-inch telescope at the Leon Mao Dark Sky site, and makes use of the existing telescopes at the Melbourne Observatory during some section meetings, and our meetings night held once a month at the observatory. Also located on the site at the ASV's Dark Sky site is a fully steerable 8.5 metre radio telescope, a Kennedy dish, very similar to Doug MacArthur's dish that he used to use up there at Redburn. So with involvement with the radio astronomy section, you can get involved with all the activities there at the radio astronomy section, of which I used to be section director of for 12 years, some time ago in the distant past. An annual yearbook is supplied to members, as well as a bi-monthly newsletter called Crux, which all members are welcome to contribute to. There's also an annual publication which is called it's not an almanac, but it's called the Yearbook, the ASV Yearbook, which is a fairly decent publication, and is available once you become a member. The ASV logo, which shows the Southern Cross and its pointer stars, has a motto in Latin, which when translated means "this way to the stars." The ASV is governed by a set of rules which should be read before applying for membership. The document is downloadable from the website. Any person or organisation with an interest in astronomy may apply for membership of the society. Join now. Oh, that's what it says there. So more information about the ASV can be gleaned from the website at www.asv.org.au. And there's quite a few things happening there. There's a rolling banner at the top of the website, which shows what's coming up in the ASV and what's being planned. Also under the sections tab, you'll find all the active sections that make up the ASV. Astrophotography, club section, comet and media section, computing section, cosmology and astrophysics, deep sky, historical section, instrument making, juniors, lunar and planetary, new astronomers group, radio astronomy, solar astronomy, space exploration, and women in the ASV. All separate sections, and under the sections tab you can click on those individual links, which open up a separate page which detail the individual sections and who to contact if you wish to visit a meeting. I think it's still okay to be able to, as a visitor, be able to pop in and see if the section is of interest to you, and then with discussion with the section director you can talk about how to perhaps join the ASV as such. In recent years, the ASV has the Bendigo Astronomical Society has merged with the ASV, and just recently, again, a similar thing has occurred with the Geelong Astronomical Society. So Geelong Astronomical Society is now considered a section of the ASV. Okay, there are all the sorts of things that are happening with the ASV, Astronomical Society of Victoria, and you can find, like I said, you can find out all information on the website that's relevant to what you're interested in doing, more or less. You're tuned to ASV, the radio, ASV radio, VK3 EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel is the official call sign belonging to the ASV. It's been licensed since 1988, and EKH is actually the initials of the then president that was in holding the chair, president's chair, in 1988, and his name was K.M. Harrison, K. McHarrison. So EKH is basically his initials, although not the E part, but the KH is, and Harrison, Mr. Harrison, who was president of the ASV 1988-89. So this broadcast has been running since 1988, off and on. Pleasant good evening to the former person who used to run and own this chair, VK3DRW, and I've got a mental relapse on his name right now. Wouldn't that bother you? I know, it's just there right in front of me. DRW, I remember his call sign, but his name is, sorry if you're listening, I know you, doesn't matter, anyway. It's all part of growing old, I tell you. Oh dear. Anyways, such is life. Enough of that bilge. All right, let's get into this first thing. I'm still thinking. Yes, okay. Now, astrophysicist Matthew Bales wins the 2024 Prime Minister's Prize for Science, courtesy of ABC News. Actually, I've got a picture here I can bring up of Mr. Matthew Bales. He's looking quite with it on this picture here, which should be just here somewhere. I got distracted halfway through the night with going outside looking for aurora. So let me just go across to my file for where I've got his image. There it is. I just didn't bring it across into vMix. There it is. There's Mr. Professor Matthew Bales. Right. And there's a few of these pictures too. Anyway, let's see. In short, Swinburne University of Technology astrophysicist Matthew Bales has won the 2024 Prime Minister's Science Prize for Science. He was recognised for his work in discovering fast radio bursts, FRBs, with colleagues Duncan Loma and Maura McLaughlin. Professor Bales now leads the OzGrav Centre to coordinate Australia's research into gravitational wave science. For an illustrious career studying pulses, mysterious bursts of cosmic radiation, astrophysicist Matthew Bales has won the 2024 Prime Minister's Prize for Science. The Swinburne University of Technology professor has been recognised for his part in discovering fast radio bursts, powerful blasts of radio waves that can help scientists better understand the universe, and his leadership in Australian astronomy research in general. He says, it's a lovely surprise. He says, if you told me as a child that one day I would receive a prize from the Prime Minister, he says, I don't think I would have believed you. But this work has not always been smooth sailing, with a mistake early in his career leading him to once think his life in academia was over. Professor Bales likes to point out he was born on the day the first discovery of a quasar was published. He spent his life working with radio telescopes to find signals of similar far-flung objects. His work began with pulsars, which are neutron stars that flash beams of radiation into space like a lighthouse. The hot topic when I was young scientist were these things called millisecond pulsars. These are neutron stars that rotate up to 700 times a second, he said. It's such a tiny niche area that in order to advance, you basically have to build your own instruments. But I wasn't very good at circuit design. Instead, he started working on software to analyze the data, and that had already been collected. Alas, his approach didn't always work. When he was in his 20s, he made what he describes as a catastrophic famous discovery. He, along with his supervisor and another colleague, thought that they had discovered the first planet outside our solar system. But 6 months later, it was found to be a software error. Instead of being very careful, he leapt for glory, and it ended in tragedy, he said. I thought my career was over. But instead of him and his colleagues being laughingstock of the astronomical community, they were given a second chance after admitting their mistake at a prestigious American Astronomical Society's annual meeting. The then supervisor, Andrew Lynn, drudged off the stage thinking people would be throwing tomatoes, but Americans, being Americans, stood up and gave him standing ovation. Professor Bales said, "I thought next time I need to be more careful and try and learn back the respect of our peers. But get our reputations back to at least an acceptable level," he reckons. So these fast radio bursts. The costly mistake was in the back of Professor Bales' mind throughout his work that led to the discovery of what now is known as the fast radio bursts, or FRBs. It started when he met up with his former PhD student Duncan Lonimer and asked him if he'd found anything interesting lately. Professor Lonimer, then at the West Virginia University in the US, put up a graph showing data from a 2001 survey of pulsars from Mariung, the Parkes radio telescope. He and a colleague, Moria McLaughlin, searched archival data for interesting single pulsars of radio waves. Most could be easily categorized. The pulse Professor Lonimer showed Professor Bales could not. It was a huge spike of emissions, lasting just a few milliseconds. It was much stronger than the pulses that they had been or used to be looking at, recalled Professor Bales, who remembered it as a ridiculously bright and absolutely perfect. After some initial calculations, along with Professor McLaughlin, the three researchers thought that they might have found something brand new. Professor Bales said, "I just lay awake at night, couldn't get to sleep, I was so excited." Knowing something that almost nobody else in the world knows about the universe is a very rare treat. They published their bright burst in November 2007 issue of journal Science. And I've got another image here to show of Mr. Bales. Just have to bring it in. He's sitting at his desk, all rather proud of himself. Carrying on. But as the years passed, without anyone else finding another fast radio burst, Professor Bales began to doubt their findings. It didn't help that a similar signal found by a PhD student at Parkes Data turned out to be emissions escaping a kitchen microwave at the site, not radio waves from a distant galaxy. Even reports in 2013 of a few more genuine extraterrestrial bursts found in archival data from Parkes didn't reassure him. The whole world was looking for fast radio bursts, so why was Parkes the only telescope finding them? He said, I had this nagging doubt that maybe we'd stuffed up again, he said. But things turned a corner when a new fast radio burst was found by astronomers at the Arecibo telescope in Puerto Rico in 2014. Initially, Professor Bales feared the Arecibo signal might be coming from a different brand of microwave oven. But when the signal was traced to our host galaxy, it was beyond doubt, he said. Astronomers now know that fast radio bursts last just a few microseconds to seconds and release as much energy as 500 million suns. That first fast radio burst, called FRB 010724 and affectionately dubbed the Lomar burst, is still one of the brightest detected and came from a galaxy billions of light years away. Thousands of fast radio bursts have been discovered since, and researchers use them to measure the magnetic field strength between galaxies to understand the mass of the universe. Today, Professor Bales is the director of the ARC Centre of Excellence for Gravitational Wave Discovery, or OSGRAV, where he coordinates Australia's research into gravitational wave science. Gravitational waves, which are ripples in space-time caused by huge energetic objects in the universe, made headlines a few years ago when direct evidence of them was found for the first time. The team is now using a network of pulses to try and find gravitational waves from supermassive black holes. As gravitational waves travel through space, scientists on Earth can detect their presence through their subtle effect on pulsar beams. While all this work is important, Professor Bales lights up most when he talks about his current pet project, the Astral Institute. He says, I try and get kids who are interested in space and science to come and work with real researchers while they still are in high school, he said. At the moment, the kids are preparing a school holiday program that other kids will be able to come to, where they'll learn about the solar system. He says, I think it would be more powerful to have other kids give the talk, because then the kids will see, oh, they're not much older than me and they're already working on space. Maybe I can do that too. Professor Bales is proud of what he's achieved throughout his career and is now focused on the next generation of scientific leaders. And he feels especially chuffed by the fact that there is an instrumental post-rock band in Germany called the Lomar Burst. The $250,000 Prime Minister Prize for Science was one of the 7 prizes awarded that night. The 4 other science innovation prizes and 2 science teaching prizes were awarded to Professor Andrew Wilkes and Dr. Chris Burns from the biotechnology company Cytopia, and were awarded the Prime Minister's Prize for Innovation. Yeah, I'll leave it all there. That's pretty much the end of that article. But you can actually now, and not quite the end of it, I do have a little, it goes for 2 minutes of Matthew talking. And let me see if I can just bring that up on screen.
When we first saw the fast radio burst, my colleague started laughing because it just seemed too good to be true. It was ridiculously bright and absolutely perfect. My name is Matthew Bales. I'm the director of the ARC Centre of Excellence for Gravitational Wave Discovery, sometimes called OSGRAV, and that's headquartered here at Swinburne University of Technology. Fast radio bursts were first discovered at the Parkes Radio Telescope back in 2007. I was very fortunate to be part of the discovery team. They only last for about a millisecond, but they're coming from billions of light years away, and they're about 1 trillion times more luminous than any radio burst we've ever seen from our galaxy. Entangled in the fast radio burst signal is a measure of how many electrons there are in the universe, and we can use that to determine how much normal matter in the universe weighs. I'm currently the director of something called OSGRAV, the ARC Centre of Excellence for Gravitational Wave Discovery, and that detects a brand new type of radiation called gravitational waves. OSGRAV is very thirsty for knowledge and this new way of looking at the universe, where we can use ripples in space-time to study how black holes and neutron stars merge. OSGRAV is making ripples internationally. I've had people come into my office from overseas saying, how did you do this, and how can we do this back in our own country? The team is doing something right. I really get the greatest joy out of nurturing the next scientists and engineers. I love going to schools and giving talks, and also having kids come into the lab, seeing them gaze in wonder at what we know about the universe. To receive the Prime Minister's Prize for Science is an amazing honour. And there's so many of us pushing against the frontiers of knowledge that every now and then one of us hits the jackpot. And so I see this really as a prize for the entire astronomical sector.
Okay, excellent stuff indeed. All right, now what I'll do, keeping with the Matthew Bales theme, a little bit more audio level there. Yep. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. I will now go back in time and pick up an old interview that was done by astrophys.com by Brendan O'Brien. Oh, by the way, courtesy to ABC News for that little bit of video. So thank you to ABC News for that courtesy of doing that. ABC Science. If you go to the ABC Science website, you'll see more details on all that information. So now, it's courtesy of Brendan O'Brien of astrophys.com. We shall now play the audio recording of an interview he did with Matthew and he talks about magnetars, supercomputers, gravitational waves and the sort. Let me see. Yes, this is what Brendan says. He says, in this episode, we hear about weird magnetars, supercomputers, gravitational wave discoveries from Professor Matthew Bales. Dr. Bales is founder and director of the Centre of Astrophysics Supercomputing at Swinburne University, director of the ARC Centre of Excellence of Gravitational Wave Discovery. His team also developed a supercomputer for the 50-year-old Mongolo telescope to transform into a pulsar timing and FRB discovery machine. We should note here that the Duncan Lonimer and Professor Bales were the original discoverers of the FRBs, fast radio bursts. Dr. Bales has a huge number of papers published with 16,000 professional citations in astrophysics journals. Most recently, he's co-authored a paper about some puzzling discoveries about reawakening magnetar using instruments including the new square kilometre array square kilometre array and the Meerkat telescopes in South Africa. And incidentally, for those that may have missed it, on the 7:30 report on Thursday night, I think it was, they featured a report on the square kilometre array. In fact, I was going to try and show that too, but I didn't get around to finding the link to it. But if you go to the ABC website, I suspect ABC iView, and look for the 7:30 report on Thursday night, and to go into the program probably by about 20 minutes or so. There's the report. It only goes for a few minutes, but there's the report on the square kilometre array, the latest news on it, which was quite interesting. Yep, that's it. Let's go into this report, courtesy of Brendan O'Brien. Thank you, Brendan. Let me get this queued up. I'll throw up the picture. And the audio file should be this one here. And then do this. You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel with the monthly Friday night broadcast. Okay. Struth.
Each fortnight we have a special guest in the fields of radio astronomy, optical astronomy, space physics. And today our feature interview is with Professor Matthew Bales, who is the Director of the ARC, the ARC Centre of Excellence for